the Sanctuary of Light and the Light Institute. Welcome each and all of you to this time of knowings and invite you to bring forward the conversations of your hearts so that we can caress and touch who we truly are. So I invite you to say whatever is important to you, and we'll see what we do with it. Yes?
Can you talk a little bit about what is going on the planet right now? All of the shakings and the explodings and the water and the no water.
Could you imagine that someplace in your soul, in your soul's knowing, you have seen this before?
Oh, I have.
Yes, you have. As have we all. And so, we all know what this is, in fact. And imagine that in the same way that in this lifetime what happened yesterday or a week ago, and you review it and you say, now I know how I would do it next time. This is next time. And so we can have a little humor. Even if we were to lose our bodies, we have before. The earth needs this. We have the right to say, shake it over here, do it that way over there. We have the right to participate, but not to stop. Because much of what is being shaken loose, exploded out, are leftover energies that we ourselves, in the evolution of our species, have placed within the strata of our earth, of our mother sea, and all these levels of the natural world. And so this is, I can't say it's a beginning because it has been going on. It is getting louder, and it's getting louder to opportune us to review within ourselves the purpose of our lives, to not be afraid, to recognize that what happens to someone in Japan or Africa or Italy happens to us, and that there is a thread that connects us. And so by lifting up outside of the, isn't this terrible, what if it happened here, how can I get around this, but what do I have to give to this? What do I have to give to this? We can then feel our purpose, so that we needn't run away. We needn't feel that life is becoming dangerous at all. We're just getting a little cosmic shaking up to remember that our purpose in life was not any of the things that we embrace on the material level, but that it's the source of the shaking, of the eruptions, of the seas, of all of that, that corresponds to ourselves.
And we feel it within ourselves, don't
we? We feel it in ourselves, and I think that more and more people will begin to sense when there's going to be an earthquake. I've talked about it in our books, what I call sloshing, because we are 70% water. And so when there's a trembling or when there's a building of energy within the core of the earth, we can feel that pressure, so that our own bodies become a tuning fork to the energies. And so it's very important at this moment to ask, is this mine? To know whether this is a conversation within your own body, or this is your body aligning to something. And by recognizing that, it helps you to focus more clearly on how it is that you give that gift, how it is that you draw the energy into you and extend it out into those places. And so that you really can have the flash of awareness, that's happening over there, or it's happening to a person, or whatever those conversations are. This is a very good time for us not to take on what's going on with others, but to become aware of that from a place that allows us to be the givers, to be the vehicles of those energies passing through.
One more part to that, do you think our personal healing of our souls at this time, and not our souls, our bodies, all of the bodies, is accelerated at this
Oh,
time?
absolutely,
'Cause
absolutely.
I see that right now.
Yes, yes, and what's really, and I just had an experience about it, which I can't talk about, but
Me too.
yes, we are being allowed to come to octaves that we always projected onto others. The other healers, the great ones who could raise the dead, etc., etc., is being gifted to ourselves right now. So of course, who is the best guinea pig? We are. We are, our bodies. And so right now, as you feel all these changes, as you feel all this disturbance, psychically, emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, you want to recognize that, of course, here is the guinea pig, here is the vehicle of expression. And so you want to go to the highest octave with your own body. Because right now, you could get rid of all kinds of things that otherwise you would think you would be victim of in your body. We are not. We must grab hold of our bodies. They are not victimizing us. They are asking us to pay attention. They are asking us to heal them, to come into relationship with our physical form. So that experiencing the power of saying, and that's enough, and we will not do that, and we are now well, and it happens, that from that base of experience, we can begin to extend that out to others. Because there's certainly a world of people who are needing just a little vibrational lift that will allow them to recognize within themselves that they are not the victims of their bodies. And so it's a great time for miracles right now. And after all, isn't that what this weekend is about? This next weekend.
Yes.
It's about, an imprint, a collective thought form, a focused experience, and that echoes the honoring of the one who comes in, who holds the message and holds the solution. And that person sits in this room. Yes.
Is that what you do with people, Chris? I mean, I know it's all of us, yes, but I mean, I've experienced that so many times, and I knew it was you or somebody or but I know that you can do that. But is that what you do? You would zap people and give them just a little bit of a shift so that they move into what they know how to do, but you just kind of like give them a little bit of a boot?
Absolutely, but the beauty is they don't need to know that it has anything to do with me.
Well, then they usually don't. But
yes. The important thing is that they suddenly feel, I can do this, or, oh, there's a way out, or there's a way up, or there's something, a little shift in their consciousness that takes them to the next octave. Because we must experience life for ourselves. We are not at the time, despite what so many religions and others want to imprint upon us, to say that it is the outside world. We are our own healers, our own teachers. It is our time, but we don't remember that. So the gift that I would always want to give is that point of illumination whereby somebody says, I can do this, I am this. And know that they can be, and that they feel that inside themselves. So yes, and that's something that all of us can do.
I was going to ask you.
I talk about it in all of my books. It's simply, and here's the trick, it's really so simple. Take your attention off yourself. Take your attention off yourself for one moment. Put your attention like a laser beam on someone else or some situation, and allow the cosmic infinite energies to pass through you and laser them to that situation. It's that simple. And it does work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Could you talk about why it is so difficult for the movement or for us in our times anyways to speak the truth and handle the truth? We are playing so many games and I experience myself that I'm really tired of them. I don't have patience with it. But people usually can't handle when I speak about what's really going on. And when you look at movies, that's the same thing. You can tell that the problems arise because people never say what's really true for them and what the problems are. So could you talk about
Well, first of all, I would say we have no history of being taught about truth. Remember that truth is not a fixed conversation. It's not a fixed equation. It changes as we change because truth is what we experience, and that's why we all have our own truths, which may be in opposition to each other at any particular moment. But beyond the fact that no one has ever taught us except to say, don't lie, whatever that means. Lying is such a fluid, malleable, kind of energetic. But we haven't learned to speak our truth. We haven't learned to say what it is that we feel at any moment or any point of illumination. And we have learned to repeat what the teacher tells us, our society tells us, our religions tell us, our parents tell us, so that we can be safe. So the key to speaking truth is being disconnected from the point of reference that you will be safe as long as you are approved of. To go along with that, when we look at it from a holographic perspective of many, many incarnations of the soul, we have been burned at the stake, we've been ostracized, we've been punished for speaking something that was beyond that time, beyond the point of recognition, heresy, for example, anything that took us away from being part of the masses that allowed us to stand out. It has only been 100, 150 years from which your life could be threatened by having an illumination that was not accepted by science, by religion, by culture. And so that's not a blink in the evolution of the soul. So we don't have a frame of reference that is said, you will be applauded. And again, the key is you have to be free of the need to be applauded or the fear of being punished. So if you have repertoires coming from other lifetimes, from your cultures or from your societies that have said, if you say something that's different from everyone else, they're going to hate you. They're not going to choose you as a lover, as the mother of their children, as a person who's respected, etc., etc. Then you don't have anything supporting, giving you that core from which you can feel that you could step through that and become visible. And so what I would say, and it's certainly true in terms of right now, let me support you in saying you would be surprised how many people will thank you, if not at that moment, later on, for speaking your truth. Mm-hmm. We can be gentle. We don't have to get out our swords and say, you're playing a game out. Whack! We're bad, you're wrong. Shame on you. We don't have to do it that way. In fact, I've been practicing this art, and I'm certainly not yet the master, but I am getting there. I will allow that. And I was just talking about that with someone this afternoon who was in a point of crisis, in which we don't have to say, oh, this is what is said about you, or this is what is true about you, and then they're stuck with that. But we can come from a deeper level, your own deep truth, looking at, as we say at the Lions do, piercing the heart. Here are the beautiful things about you. And you know, you are ready to look at something deeper and to be your true self. So we can turn it around and tell them their truth, or our truth about them in a positive way that supports, you can let go of the games. You've outgrown them. Sometimes when I've actually said to someone, you know, you've had a pattern in your life for safety, for belonging, of not speaking your truth or hiding behind something or wearing the mask. And I can truly see in you that you have outgrown that skin. And it's wonderful because now you and I can really converse about what's meaningful to you. And people just, it just liberates them. If you say something to someone and it does hurt their feelings or it upsets them, that's all right. Then you are the vehicle of the cosmic boot. The trick is you have to know that it's okay if they're angry at you or their feelings are hurt. Always follow it up by saying the highest and best thing about them as a soul being, and then walk on. Because people really need that kind of nudge right now. They're hanging on for dear life to their illusions and to their masks, but they really don't want them. And they really want to be with someone who sees them, who can say, that's just what you've learned, but I see something else in you. And make that be truthful. Make it so that you actually can see beyond their mask. Often we can't see beyond someone's mask because we are projecting or feeling that their mask is talking to us. They're not seeing you at all. They're just bouncing off you. You're just a mirror of their own reflection, so you needn't be offended or feel abused because they don't see you or because they behave in such a way. It has nothing to do with you. It's just them in the treadmill, the treadmill of life and incarnations. And so you can give them that cosmic kiss and push them out of that groove. And sometimes that's, a great gift that we can give. Again, the trick to it is don't be attached. And it is time when some of the people that we've been wandering about with, we're done with. And so often people say, well, how will I know if I'm done with this relation, or I'm done with this friendship, or I'm done with this whatever? You'll know that you're done when you can truly see who they are in the deepest and the highest and the best level. And you can just go on. You don't need their support. You don't need their approval. You can just let them go. And we often think that someone would die without us. And sometimes people say that they will, but they won't. No, 5 years from now, they'll be spouting the same things you were telling them. They just won't allow us how as it came from you. That's the cosmic giggle. And so, you want to really free yourself to know that if there are people that really don't fit who you are, who are judgmental of your path or your illuminations, just let them go. And as soon as you do, others will come right in, who will be your soul friends. And because we are group animals, we will never really walk alone. We don't walk alone, even though there are some of us that try to pretend that we do. We don't. And so it's just a matter of unhooking and unhooking and unhooking all of those inextricable connections that don't serve us at this moment. And so, as the song said, set yourself free. And really practice for yourself the grace of what it is that you need to say to someone, but don't be afraid to say it. And some of us have that, whether we want to call it a gift or a curse. I think you're one of them. I am definitely one of them. I can sit in the corner and say nothing. And then people will start going through their stuff, and it's okay. It's okay. Again, when we connect with their soul self, then we don't need to worry about what their ego's doing. They need the gift. And they wouldn't come into our lives if there weren't something that we could offer them. And again, sometimes that's the boot. And it's really okay. So we want to clear from ourselves any points of reference in this lifetime. Go back. What is a memory in this lifetime when you felt ostracized for being yourself? And get rid of that. Or when you felt peaceful at speaking your truth. And as you uncover those things and shift to those energies, you will feel the power of freedom. And it's time. In fact, it's quite delicious, actually. Yes. What else?
How can we open our hearts more at this time so that we can be there and be that giver and let go of ourselves and our stuff and just say, I'm gonna be there.
Again, what closes our hearts, what holds our hearts in readiness for fight or flight, in trembling, and that trembling that occurs as the heart gets ready to close as quickly as possible, is the illusion that we can be hurt by others. It has nothing to do with them. It has everything to do with our own memories and our own repertoire. When we're unafraid of each other, our hearts are open, and the ego sense, which more belongs to the emotional body, can be released through the opening of the heart. But that's why we work so much with drawing the energy down into the emotional body level and extending out the auric field, because you cannot open your heart while your stomach is spasming with fight or flight, which is the sense of the ego. You know, am I safe? And so we have to, as we were just talking about, free ourselves from that intertwining, will they like me, will they approve, will they hurt me, kinds of conversations. And we do that best by looking into the deepest levels of many lifetimes we have experienced that relate to those kinds of themes. I would recommend washing the heart, feeding the heart so that it can be open. The heart has to be the giver, and therein lies the rub. If your heart is saying, I'll love you if you love me back, then it's always going to be ready to close, because it's expecting someone to not choose you. It's expecting that kind of pain. So we want to clear away the residue of pain and expectation and feel the power of the giver. Our emotional bodies, our experiences in life have not been taught the power of the giver. To give freely without saying, and where's mine and you owe it to me. But to sift up and feel as if you're always full because you're getting it from another level. Unconditional love from another level. And so we want to feed our hearts. The more that you energetically feed your heart, the less you're waiting for the other guys to feed it. And that makes you available to receiving love from others without going, what do you want? What do I have to give you in return? Etc. What do you expect? Etc. Etc. And so, let me think now which one we'll do. I think that one of the ones that I really love the most, because it touches many, many levels, is the washing of the heart. The heart is surrounded like the baby through a pericardial sac, and that sac is filled with fluid. And sometimes when I'm looking at people, I can see how polluted their pericardial energy is. In Chinese medicine, there's a point back here next to the rhomboids, next to those little butterfly angel wings that we have in the back. It's called Cure 1,000 Diseases, and it runs over the shoulders and down into the pericardium. There's also a point on the wrists here that they use when we have nausea, to get rid of nausea, ringing in the ears, emotional energies, all that kind of stuff. And it goes directly into the heart. There are 2 points. One is at 3 fingers, one is at 2 fingers. But if you see these veins here, if you just go past the veins, you'll feel these 2 tendons on either side. They're parallel tendons. We'll just go right into those tendons, and it'll feel like a nerve ache and push in there. That's pericardium energies. It goes directly into the emotional heart. And I always used to use that when I did esoteric acupuncture, when someone needed to cry, when they needed to open their heart, but their pericardial fluid was toxic, had little shreds of, especially rust color, rust iron, or copper color, I should say, or rust color, is the color of treachery. And it's amazing how many hearts have little flecks, like little rust-colored stuff in it. And that's about who you've been treacherous to, and who's been treacherous to you, vis-a-vis all of the interconnecting karmas from many lifetimes. And so moving with that is one thing on a physiological level. Washing the pericardial fluids is also a physiological level. It will definitely support your physical heart as well as your emotional and spiritual heart. So we'll do this exercise in consciousness right now to just imagine, to ask your pericardium to show you the fluids. You might have little black spots. The beauty of doing these exercises is to find truth. Not to say, oh, my heart pericardium is perfect, but to say, I have gathered up a little sewer in there, and now I can clean it up. Because who can clean it up? You can. Nobody else can. And it is amazing how simple it is to clear it through our consciousness. Because when you begin to wash that heart, whether you imagine that you're draining the fluids and filling it up with seawater or under a waterfall or in a faucet or in a lake, it makes no difference. When you imagine that you are exchanging the fluids, you'll actually literally feel your chest expand. Again, there are many acupuncture points and many ways to affect the heart, but if you would wash your heart every once in a while, it will really, it's like saying, okay, now I set myself on the next octave, I'm free. And your whole body, your whole chest will relax by doing this. So let's do it. Close your eyes. Breathe deeply, and breathe deeply as if you're breathing in and out through your heart. And now ask your pericardium, your emotional heart, to show you the texture of the pericardial fluids that surround your physical heart. You might be attracted to a particular area. It might look like soup, it might have flecks in it, it might be very opaque. Just let your body show you without resisting. What's it like at this moment? Now, ask your pericardium to show you how to drain out those fluids and replace them with pure, lighted, oxygenated, divine pranic fluid. Again, just take a deep breath and see how it is that you pour out that old stuff and replace it, again, by washing it in a sea or a waterfall, or makes no difference, or rain. Just take a deep breath. And now, just again, breathe deeply and look in and allow yourself to perceive what that feels like. Clear fluid. It's like a blank page. It's perfect. It's free. It's whole. It's healthy. Breathe deeply and open your eyes. So just to give us an example, tell us what you saw in your heart and how you cleaned it.
It had orange spikes around it, but they were rubbery. And then it had opaque, white, blue, and red. And something Oh, immediately, as soon as I washed up, the third eye, wow,
Excellent. Oh, fabulous.
it just opened right up.
Oh, beautiful. And
And
it
it
is.
softened
Yes.
a lot.
Great. Great.
Feels a lot better.
And that's the gift. I had a friend who saw not only the auric field but the chakras spinning, and she said, you know, we can't really open up these centers until we release the judgment, until we release those energies.
It
And
was
so,
fear, fear
And it's
of being too
really-
open.
yeah, your forehead looks very different. So you want to say, that's it. And
That's
think back
it.
like that. That's it. Perfect. Thank you. What else? Yes.
I have a question.
Yes?
Actually, I did go through the session with you a while back, and she
Yes.
gave me the spark because I went through a huge shift and I read all the books.
Yes.
However, sometimes I get stuck, and like I got stuck yesterday. And my question is, how can I recognize that some people don't serve me, and be wise about that? Because in a way, somehow, I feel very bad of letting them go,
Yes.
but they hold me. It's like I get stuck because of them, and I don't know what to do about it.
The first thing that I would say, which is so true when we want to release someone, is to honor them. To honor them. Because they hold you, and so it's easy to blame them. You know, you're not at my level, or you can't see me, you can't understand me, or you're going to sabotage me, you're going to keep me from what I want. And so what you want to do is shift from that level of being in the pot with them, you know, this kind of together, and shift up and really honor them. Thank you, because you would never know you were stuck if they weren't holding on to you. So as soul friends, you want to say, oh, thank you for holding me. Thank you. And now I release you. And remember what I said a little while ago. Even if they're resisting you letting them go, eventually they will thank you. And so, first you want to honor them. You want to see them on a soul level. Because one of the things that I've learned in all of these years, 53 years of incarnational work, is that nobody gets close enough to you to hold you, to influence your life who isn't karmic to you, who isn't a soul friend. Because your enemies will never actually do anything because it's against cosmic law. So it's your soul friends who will come in and smack you around. Nobody else. So that's why it's so important to be able to say, thank you. In one of my books I talk about that. If there's someone that you really can't stand and you've got to get rid of, get a picture of them, put it up in your mirror, and practice this every day, bowing down to them. And initially, you know, I say, I think you're a big jerk and I wish you were dead right now. But pretty soon, in will come that energy of acknowledgement, because as you do that, that sense of separating out. You see, you never let go of someone you're afraid of. You never let go of someone you're afraid of. And so, the more that you do this, the more the fear level will disappear. And that's my interpretation of balance. Other people call it forgiveness. I don't like the word. But that's my interpretation of balance. And then practice every night, especially when you go to bed. What frequency of light do you need from me to be released now? So that you are releasing them. You're not waiting for them to let go of you. And what happens when you give them that is that pretty soon they feel that and they start disengaging. They don't even know why or how. If you want to do it really powerfully, you can do it as we do in sessions. What gift do you need from me? A symbol, an object, or a color. That allows them to be very specific in their language. I use color because it keeps you from the specifics, but a symbol or an object really takes it to a deep level. And so when you're able to listen, not you choosing, but listen, and then you take it from the cosmos so that you're free, it doesn't cost you anything. Take it from the cosmos down to the top of your head, out to your solar plexus, and extend it to them. Then that's what frees you. They have no power on you because the giver has the power. But then allow them to give something to you. And in that way you start shifting it. So nobody's left behind, nobody's punished, nobody's to blame, but you're signaling to that person, I'm going on now. And that's what allows them to let go. Now, the trick to that is, when they let go, you can't turn around and go, oh, I changed my mind. Sometimes we do that. Suddenly they look more appealing. Maybe this will work. Maybe we could do that. No. When your own inner voice, when your higher self says, you're free, you're done now. Don't be afraid to jump off that precipice.
So is it okay that they sit in my head for a while and I think I'm insane?
Say it again.
Is it okay that they sit in my head for a while because that's what happens?
Every time you feel them in your head talking to you, immediately, where am I holding that in my head? So find the place of entry, and then what frequency of light do I need to release that voice from my head? There needs to be no one in your head but you.
I know that this is my problem.
I know. That's because you're very psychic, you've been a channel in other lifetimes, so it's a habit you have, it truly is. And so this is a moment for you to realize that you can still have that telepathy, you can still have that deep inner knowing, but you want to do it from a distance, not inside your head. And so you want to start clearing your head of that. And sometime I would recommend having sessions, and at least in one of those lifetimes, clear out a lifetime in which you allowed other voices in your head. You might have been a great psychic, you might have been a great prophet, you might have been a psycho, a sick person. There's a very thin line between people who are psychotic and people who are telepathic. It's a very thin line, and you want to get rid of that. I was today, I've been for the last 5 days or so carrying on conversations with someone that I know very well's father's dying. And I've been conversing with him every day, and it's been really interesting because he and I'll have a conversation, and then I'll report it to somebody, and they'll say, hey, that happened this morning. It's not because I'm such a great psychic. It's because I am able to have enough distance to not be emotionally involved in that, to be able to hear what's going on in there and drop, as we were talking about before, drop that little seed, that little cosmic push that can give that person the support they need to go through the process that they need to go through. And it's really, it's just amazing when we can listen to somebody, but they don't have to be inside our head. In other words, we can hear it in our head, but they're not inside our head. No. It's just like talking on the telephone with somebody. And that's what you want. And so, do exercises in consciousness with yourself. Every day. I recommend cranials are wonderful as well. But every day, just what frequency of light do you need, head, to be absolutely pure, so that the only energy in my head is the energy of my higher self. And then allow that to come in. You'll be amazed at how different your brain will feel when you do that.
Other feels.
Yeah, exactly. Because you have that kind of power. And then sometimes it's just that little focus that you need. Oh yeah, I know, I can do that. And you can. And then that shifts you into another octave. And then you'll find really how easy it is to let go of people that don't serve you. But you have to acknowledge the power of them having served you, even if it's been pushing you to the precipice. So, over you go. Take wing. What else?
Well, I'd like to
to share something or to also ask, since the earthquake in Japan
Yes.
happened,
Yes,
what you said earlier on that people feel it,
yes.
I felt it very strongly in my body, and
Yes.
since then I have had pain from time to time in my heart area, and
Yes.
it goes up here, and I can somehow, just accept that, but then I come to a point when it depresses me,
Mhm.
when I feel like this, so it's moving right now, like I feel clouded, and even that I try to wash it,
Mhm.
it keeps, I was able to relax, and it was like, in this deep relaxation, I was able to just be with everything and not.
So what I want to
Feeling
say to
sweat,
you,
but-
what I want to say to you is there are several points of reference there. When we want to be a healing energy, we often feel that the way we can do that is to take it on for others. And so in our cultures, in how we've been trained in healing, our Judeo-Christic ethics, all of that, we have been taught that we must sacrifice the self, that we even feel guilty when something happens to somebody else. This is a syndrome that we know very well from war, that people feel guilty because they've survived. I've worked with a lot of people who have been in things like earthquakes, and they feel guilty because they're alive and the others aren't. You may have even had lifetimes in which you've had these experiences. So you have a lot of point of references that are binding that energy inside your body. And you want to be able to release it. So I would practice that washing in your body. I would look for where am I holding a sense of guilt and release that. Where am I holding the energy of wanting to help? And then that place where you want to help, just open it up and bring energies from the cosmos into that place instead of using your own body, because you cannot help them through your own body.
I know this on the conscious level. But
Yes.
what happened?
Well, even the fact that you have a few tears right now is supportive to you.
Yeah.
And I always say, emotionally, we want to go even deeper than what we're conscious of, and that's why we do incarnational work here. But that you have a few tears right now means that your body understands the truth of this. It understands your own truth. And this is the moment for you to let go. You cannot help all those people who are dying, who have died, who are now without anything. And they have, as a group, in that island, suffered again and again for generation and generation and generation. And again, you don't know how you are specifically as a soul tied into that. But trust me when I say, embrace them and honor them. Here's another example of a different kind of honoring. That you can honor them to know that by their deaths, by the sickness, by the suffering that they are experiencing, they are helping to initiate the evolution of humanity. By the very fact that you feel it in your body, they are giving you a gift. Now you want to take that and turn it around that you're feeling it in your body. And on one level you want to say, I cannot do this for you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how sick you feel, how many tears you shed, you cannot take the burden for them.
No.
And so you really want to get clear, not to be guilty, and to be able to say, I cannot take it for you, but I will pull the energy from the cosmos, and I will send it to you to support you. And how I honor you and thank you for the experience that you're having, because it's causing my own evolution. It is increasing my humanity. And in our humanity is not about the sympathy that we feel for others, because sympathy doesn't allow truth. It doesn't allow a deep soul level of purpose. And so sympathy only binds someone into a sense of being the victim. And nobody heals as long as they're the victim. There is purpose and dignity and soul power in what they're experiencing. And if we honor them on that level, they'll get through this much better, and they won't have to repeat it, and neither will we. And so, trust yourself that you can look Where am I holding guilt or shame in relationship to what they're experiencing? Get rid of it, because you don't want to pass it psychogenetically on into the planet. You know, you want that to be the end of it. All of us have one level or another of psychic, emotional, spiritual guilt that we have carried, that we've been taught to carry. And it doesn't serve us. You know, you are not just the product of your forefathers. You are the next generation of the evolution of the human spirit. And it's at any moment in our lives when something comes up and we respond to it, that's the moment of graduation. 1 million people are sleeping through this, and you are not. But now, be kind to your own body and say, thank you, body. Okay, I'm paying attention. I perceive this, and now let's get up to where I can be the gift. What else?
At the Light Institute, you offer sessions that involve resolving and clearing attachments and karmas to parents and grandparents and lovers. And I wondered if you would speak about the advantage, both spiritually and day-to-day practicality, of having completed clearing in that matter for the soul and for the individual.
Well, I have to smile and say, completing?
Well,
Are you ready for the
bad
next
choice
copy
of words.
book? Going the hologram, completing one octave of it. And again, I laugh because we will survive all of our clearing. And that's why we might have a wonderful childhood and then suddenly we get stuck with all the garbage. Or we may have a terrible childhood and then suddenly we come into a sense of grace. It's always that pulse, because that's the pulse of life. And it's not avoiding what's there, but clearing it, as you're talking about. That's what we do at the Light Institute, is to teach someone the tools that allow our consciousness to perceive the hologram, so we can say, I'm having this experience that's connected to this and this and this and this, and I'm ready now to release it. Not on a mental level per se, but on a conscious level, which is so much more expanded, that we can see its purpose. And as we see its purpose, not intellectually, but energetically, it's much easier for us to actually clear. And what happens when we clear is that it's like shifting. You're no longer available. So what happens is that you won't keep getting that same lesson. You may be getting other lessons, but you won't be getting that particular lesson again and again and again. And so each time we allow more light into us, each time we feel more wise, we feel more powerful to choose. As Mandela said, I am the captain of my soul. And to feel what that's like. It's not controlling, it's not avoiding, it's not tiptoeing through, it's not creating a reality that the wind could blow apart, but it's being free to be in any reality, in any situation, and always have that perspective of who we truly are. Not by the confines of the ego, but by the infinite energies of the soul. Knowing, here I am in this situation. I can move this, I can move this. And so at the Light Institute, we look at all of those points of reference that bring us a certain lesson or theme, what we would call a theme. And then we clear that, and we clear it not only by going into the muck of it, but by going into the experiences we've had above that level. Experiences in which we were able to clear something, or in which that wasn't an issue for us because we had all of the elements and the power that kept us on a different octave away from that. And so it allows us, again, that kind of freedom to expand out and reinvent ourselves continually. Because if we were just holding on to, this is who I am, there would be no evolution. And that's why my higher self says, forget who you are. When I say who you are, I mean you as a soul being. You as something that, like the cosmos, is in the ebb and the flow and the streaming, continually, infinite evolution.
Which is why an individual frequently experiences significant changes in their life after.
Yeah.
after
Like it or
sessions
not.
with the group.
And usually it's delicious and we feel more creative and we feel more light and more health. And we feel, oh, I can go on. What was I fussing about? You know, what am I doing here with this person? Out. I'm on. I'm off, I'm on. Absolutely. You know, and it makes it, again, it gives us the power to be able to do that. And that's what we need individually and collectively. Every time you make a gesture that says, I need not allow this to have power over me, or to stay with these conclusions, or these, it has to be this way, all of that kind of stuff. The moment you make the slightest shift, all the people who are karmically connected to you will shift as well. They have to. Because the apex has just shifted the base. And that's what is so exciting when we begin to see that. That when you change, everything and everyone around you changes. And the faster you change, the more you attract to yourself new templates of relationship, of health, of consciousness, of manifestation. I've been thinking a lot about that in the last few days, because of this brain conversation. All that I thought I was going to put in that book is not anything of what I'm going to put in that book. And it's really, talk about potential. It's really about plucking the templates that we have on this planet and realizing that we can perform these things and that we are these energies and that we have the right to borrow a particular vibration in order to do that. And this is getting very, very exciting. It's a great time. And so, you know, I always recommend, again, jump off the precipice, don't wait to be pushed. It's very nice when we can say, I choose this, and feel the power of choosing that, and know that it's okay. Rather than somebody takes us to the end and we have no choice, we have to let go to survive. You know? But that we can actually come to a place where it's not about our survival, it's about the grace of our choice. We see what it is that we want, how we want to live, who we want to relate to. It's a whole different octave of sense of self. And I love that the Light Institute can participate in that. So thank you.
Could you talk about teenagers? And I've been watching them, and I've seen children who are really loving and gentle and joyful, and they just switch and they lose that and become disinterested and nasty even. So besides the hormonal thing, what is going on and how can we support them so that they don't lose parts of their being? That's kind of how it feels like sometimes.
I know, and in a way I would say, close to the surface, they pretty much do lose their being. In other words, they don't take that sweetness with them as a core through the teenage years. They rediscover it as they come out the other end. And so that necessitates parents, teachers, relatives to discover, again, the soul energy in them and to love them anyway. I've been having that experience in my own family recently. How amazing it is when you simply speak your truth. And what teenagers really, really need, because they are caught in the bind, the Kundalini is coming up, the Shakti is coming up. It's forcing them to look for who they are on a soul level, but nobody ever talks to them in that language. And so they have no sense of their purpose. They have no sense that they have a support system, that they have an energy that's driving them home to that purpose. And so it's very important to constantly mirror for them that they are good, that they are smart, that they have a sense of self, that they don't have to follow what the rest of the guys do, that they have something that every other teenager would want, that they themselves are the template. And so it's really a time when teenagers need cheerleaders. They need us to say, wow, you really do this well. Look at how this is. I remember my own aunt. She always came to me and my sister and told us how smart we were and how well we did things and how good we were and how beautiful we were. And I would think to myself, oh. But she said it was such love that I always could carry that. My aunt thinks I am. And so, at least with my aunt, I was always a very good girl. And I think this is true. If you're the auntie, and they are beginning to do that sideways waddle that happens with teenagers, reflect the highest for them. Start out before they get a chance to dump on you. Before they can open their mouths, start telling them, wow, look at you, I haven't seen you in so long. You look great. Tell me about your life. How's it going with them? And when they get a chance to say, oh, here it is in school, or how it is with my parents, or my siblings, or the life, or my boyfriends, suddenly they don't think to project it onto you. And because you are holding for them, you are wonderful, you are magnificent, I trust you, I like you, they will always reflect that back to you. That's the trick. And know that they will come out of that wobble. And they will, it just takes a few years, and we would hope that during that time, we're so busy thinking, what do you want to be when you grow up? What should you study? How should you fit in? And that's not really what they need at all. They need to come to the sense of, I have something to give the world. And so that's our important task, is to reiterate in every way we can that they are a gift to the world. And it really doesn't matter what they're studying or whatever. You can support them in whatever interests them. They'll probably change that anyway. But that sense that they have a destiny, they have a place, they're going to be able to speak their truth. And in the end, let us all smile and remember the teenager inside us.